And I'm really impressed with the fact that you explained the whole journey in terms of what it takes for an energy audit, right? And it's a very interesting thing. But one of the things that struck me most clearly with respect to the explanation that you gave was that if you're looking at energy audits in an industry, okay, it is a science of 1,000 details.
Yeah.
It's not like you do one audit and you can keep repeating the same template at each and every industry. It doesn't really
Right.
work like that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what would be your
So
thoughts on that?
actually, it is, see, if you see, this is a like more than a, it is a art more than a science. If you see, science is one thing which will give a fundamental thing, it will give create a base, but it is more than an art. How you handle the like particular situation, how you do that analysis, how you handle the situation, how you present to them, and finally we have to see the end result. Key, what is expected out of this project? Okay, no one is doing for the free. Like some, it is not academic project actually. It is very focused and it is very output expected projects are there, and each project is different, each expectation is different from the customer. So we should be able to like fulfill that, keeping our basic intact, actually fundamentals intact and our skill sets intact. If you keep that, any project you can then handle very successfully and have a right attitude. Main thing is very important.
Very and it also has a lot of components. I mean, any interaction that you have with the customers in this particular case is also backed by hard data. That also is a very critical
Yeah,
requirement in this
right,
case.
right.
Yeah.
So it cannot be in the air only. It may be happening, may not be happening. That is not actually allowed there. What is happening and how it is happening in my plant. So that should be fact based. What is happening? You should not believe any like person in the plant what they are saying. We should be believing on the data, what we are collecting, also what we are saying, and also not seeing what is historically happening. That is also important, because something may be happening very good, but now not. So that also we have to see. We cannot say every time it is bad. So something is happening good, we should appreciate that, and something we can improve, that we should go back and see what was the historical thing, or this first time it is happening. That is also important.
Yeah, and
Thanks.
and this is actually very interesting. So one of the things also that I found interesting is the difference in the approach
Yeah.
in terms of a typical audit, which is done in a silo
Yeah.
of sorts. So it is just one industry or one plant,
Yeah.
and you just walk around that and do all the, even if it is factually based and all of the things are done correctly.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have a connect to benchmarking on one side and the implementation on other side,
Yeah.
okay, if that doesn't have, then it may not lead to that much of a value addition. Okay, that's also a very interesting way to
Yeah.
look at
It
it.
is only then halfway. We just came and we did the report and finished. That is the end of that particular story. It will not help the industry. It will not help the purpose actually. For what purpose they are giving the audit? That's why I said it is not. It should not be like statutory or it is free. When you are paying for that, you are accountable for that, and you are expecting something out of that. It is complete cycle. Otherwise, it is very open-ended things.
Yeah, and in terms of cycle also, the interesting part is all of this eventually leads to sustainability.
Yes.
So whether it is with respect to savings in water, whether it is with respect to savings in emissions, and so on.
Yeah.
So this is one area where I feel that sustainability and financials actually go hand in hand,
And yes.
right? So would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you have any insights into
Basically,
that?
what happened earlier also, people were talking on the sustainability, reduction of carbon footprint. But now after COVID, specifically, it has increased, because what happened? People's ability to put money, it was reduced, and they are very focused key where I will put the money. It is only if you are saying today I will save you 1 rupee, but he's not sure whether next year that 1 rupee is again 1 rupee or it's zero. So he want to know key whether I can sustain that benefit. So after COVID, specifically, people are more aware and they're again going key whatever you do, it should be sustainable. So that point of view, awareness is also for the customers. That is
Very
important.
nice, very nice. And it's actually heartening to see that instead of just having discussions or forums around
Yeah.
sustainability, there are things that you can do on the ground
On the ground.
which are clear in terms of implementation.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a follow up on this.
Yeah.
That I understand that you, along with a lot of members from Forbes Marshall, participated in benchmarking studies.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any experience to share that benchmarks have actually improved over the years?
Yes. So what we have done, we did this benchmark study, I think 2 times, yeah, out of this total 10, 15 years. In initially, what we did, we benchmark with respect to how much their specific sink consumptions are there, and then we benchmark for the water also, and then we studied all type of industry. We didn't cover only one type of, but what is the like textile, pharma, all type of industry tried to have benchmarking exercise. And then after certain years, we found that people are growing, actually, knowledge is increasing. We are also supporting them to increase their current level to particular level. So earlier there was like worst plants, we like put a category, worst plants, then average plant and best plants. So nowadays what we are saying, after second benchmarking exercise, what we found, earlier which plants were at average, they are shifted to benchmark level. Some plants which were at like worst condition, they are at average. But now the gap between that gap is now coming down, but still the best plants are not there. People are saying we're best, but with respect, they are not seeing as a holistic thing. They are spot best plants. They are not sustaining for that benchmarking. So we are helping them digitally also. We will map them on the like continuous basis and see how much deviation is happening in the that base also, because base is not always best. So we are trying to make the average plant to best plant also. It is not like that they can say we are best. Okay, but base also can be improved. That type of things are happening. But anyway, it is journey is increasing. The awareness is increasing in the industry. We are also supporting them to improve over a year, and then overall it is a like improving journey.
Yeah, and this is actually a very much involved exercise for the entire industry. So, from what I understand, the industry, the customer higher ups also, the top management also from the customer side are very much involved in all of these discussions, and they take accountability for the teams also in terms of implementing the suggested changes, right? Which then subsequently benefits them also.
It is not one-sided like that now. They have their own teams they are forming, their energy manager they are appointing, and they are having some their internal care also. It's very important. Every year they are putting their KRS with the water reduction, sustainability, carbon footprint reduction, and they work on very strongly on that. And then we are supporting with them. We are like partner. We are not like supplier or a vendor like that. We are partnering them with respect to solution, product, and sustaining that. So that partnership is very important. It is not like that one time you do that and leave it. So that is happening actually, and that very like strong force like focus from the top management, and it is normally driven from top only. That is it.
Yeah, excellent. You also talked about the human element, okay, of audits. Okay, so because if we look at audits, you put it very rightly that it's actually not necessarily a science, but it's an art of 1,000 details, right? So where all the interpersonal skills, all the presentation skills, all of those come into picture, because there could be a case where you have somebody who says that no, my station or my segment is working really best and so on. And if the facts don't support that, you have to convince that person on one hand without offending also. So that also takes a little bit of a communication part, right?
That is very important. You should be like, should not be aggressive there. You should be assertive. When you are having right things in your hand, right solution, assertively you should be able to present to customer. You should be like convincing them. You should not like you are fighting there. You should be able to convince them that this is the thing, and you should be supported by the data. That is very important. So all these skill sets are very important, and then how you present to them, how they are on board. We have to take them on board also. It is like out of 10, okay, we'll do first phase, second phase, third phase. He may not be able to invest like all phases immediately, but then we have to like decide the priorities also. So everything comes on that skill set. How we take it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So another thing I wanted to check with you. So if we are looking at a very typical plant, for example, okay, so if it is a food and beverage plant, could be a noodle factory, could be a beverage plant or something like that. So if we want to do one type of audit, let's take an example of steam audit in this particular case. So what kind of a timeline would you say it will take? Would you have some idea? Can you share?
Actually, it depends on like type of industry basically. Because if you take a typical chemical pharma plant, they are very big plants, multiple blocks are there. But if you go on like food and beverage plant, relatively smaller plant, they have like noodle plant, there are only 2-3 lines are there. Or brewery, if you take only some limited equipments are there. But apart from that, typical if you say, we should be, there are 3 phases I am saying. Like if you go to site, there is a one point, how much time we are to spend at site to collect the actual data. Before that, actually that journey starts before. When we are getting some contract with customer, we should start interacting with them over VC or phone and try to take the data from them. What is the historical data, equipment list, what are the typical problems. We may put our data loggers also there and try to collect that data before we visit. So we are prepared actually. So that we'll spend like optimum time at site. So almost say 5, 10 days we spend at site and you do the trials. So the site work is important with respect to actual collection of that.